Reach leg up. What? Okay. So, there are 3 of us on here. That's 2 more than me. You're not on there yet. So, hello, whoever's out there. Just waiting to see who's going to join us. And there's Andy. Hi, Andy. And Anita's here. Hi, Anita. And Laura. Hi, Laura. Hi, Janine. Jenny, right? Yeah, Jenny. And anybody else going to join us? We'll just give them a few seconds here as we stuff our faces. Mm-hmm. I do think the green stuff are jalapenos.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it's mold.
I don't know if that stuff can ever go bad.
No. It sounds like Jeannie. Okay. Good, Andy. Thank you. Actually, Jeannie told me that last week.
Of course, we can't remember.
Of course, short memory. It's Jeannie, like Jeannie in a bottle. Oh, I dream of Jeannie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who else is out there? Say hello. We know you're there. We just can't see you. We will remember that, Jeannie. So, I'm making a special note of that. Okay, so have a little announcement today, but I'm going to wait before I make that announcement, something I'm planning. And we will talk about that shortly, but first, update on my mother. Oh my God. Yesterday, I was on Facebook. Now, my mother is not on Facebook, but her nursing home is on Facebook, and they put this Facebook page together in order to, like during the COVID thing, so that people could, you know, see their relatives and that, since you can't go and physically visit them, which is a good idea. In fact, at one point they were going around, you could book time, FaceTime on an iPad. They had an iPad or something they would help the residents with, and you could book a time and you could, you know, talk to them on FaceTime. I didn't bother to do that because my mother, that kind of stuff, it would have been, even though they're helping them out.
I think that would have been better for like the people that they couldn't get a hold of by phone or something,
yeah.
You know.
I mean, I call her all the time, so. But anyways, they've been posting pictures of the residents, some, you know, every so many days, when they're doing something or whatever. Well, my mother's only been in about one of those little pictures since they started this. She was there the other day. You know, if I didn't know that was my mother, I wouldn't have known it was my mother. My mother does not like her picture being taken anyways, at the best of times. My mother always used to be a woman who took a great deal of pride in having her hair coiffed. She'd go to the hairdresser every week and she would have this set and everything done. And she was always very, very particular about her appearance in both her hair, her clothes, the whole bit. That's not what it's like anymore. In fact, that picture was scary. It looks like they gave her a perm. And my mother has over-processed her hair over the years because she's had it colored and she's had it permed and she had it streaked and she did everything to it. And her hair was very over-processed.
Well, mind you, even when she was in the apartment the last little while before she went into the nursing home, her hair started looking crappy.
Yeah. Well, my mother just couldn't manage it, can't manage it on her own. So whoever the, excuse me as I eat with my mouth full, talk now. Whoever does their hair at the nursing home, who's supposedly a professional hairdresser, she doesn't really do that great a job. And she gives my mother a perm, and she looks like a little little sheep because it's so tight, the perm in her hair. Now, mind you, that may also be because my mother can't manage her own hair and do the comb outs and the brush outs like she used to do years ago. And of course, it's probably easier for the help there too, to, you know, when they're giving them the personal hygiene and stuff, it's probably easier. Well, she must have got a perm in the last week or so, but her hair is thinning. It looks like, well, have you ever seen those pictures of Queen Elizabeth I, you know, in the 1600s, and her forehead starts up here, kind of a thing? That's the way my mother's hair looks. And of course, my mother never takes a really good picture to start with, and she never smiles in a picture. And I think she's having lunch or dinner or something because she's sitting in front of a plate of food. I think it was fish and chips, their version of it. My mother complains about that. She doesn't like their fish and chips. But anyways, someone's pouring gravy on it for her, onto her chips. Well, she does like her French fries with gravy. No two ways around. But the look on her face would just about like, come any closer, I will eat you whole, kind of a deal. So I immediately texted my sister and said, have you seen Mom's picture on Facebook? And I said, it's hideous. It is just hideous. And my sister wrote back and says, yeah, saw it. She says, I've told John, John's my brother-in-law, her husband, not to let his parents see that picture. Walter thought I should probably send a copy of it to my brother. It would be revenge. But I'm not. He doesn't need that as a lasting memory of his mother. So it is scary. There's no two ways about it. So anyways, maybe that's a good thing though, because we haven't seen her in 5 months. So when we go and visit her in the next couple of weeks for her birthday, maybe I won't walk in and go, oh my God, that's not my mother. You got the wrong woman. There. It's kind of sad.
Well, part of the other problem is that probably because of staffing in a nursing home, they don't have a whole lot of time to comb her hair out and
Well,
stuff
no.
too.
But it was pretty bad looking, like. But anyways, I mean, yeah, she's older. I mean, she's gonna be 80. But I just know if my mother actually had seen that picture of herself or whatever, she would be disgusted because she was always very, very particular about her appearance. So, well, that's how time goes, I guess. But anyway, she's fine. So, what have you been working on?
I've been tearing out my shorts again and putting. I got them all done on the one side or on both sides of the pockets and that, and then I realized I made a big flaw this afternoon in the pocket, so I've been ripping them back out and refixing them. So.
Oh, that's good. Actually, the guy that Walter's taking this class from online, he just put up some Facebook pictures of some of the pants that he just made, long pants. Actually, they look pretty good. The colors are a bit wild, like
He likes a lot of color.
like orange, but and that kind of thing. But he does a really nice job, and he is showing them with a couple of shirts, short sleeve shirts he's made. Which actually the shirts are really nice too. He picks like some interesting combinations of prints and colors. But it looks pretty good. But I said to him on Facebook, I said, love the pants that you've made. I said, so you'll need to teach Walter how to do that. And he says, yeah, probably will. So it sounds to me like your next class might
Well,
be
it
on.
might be the long pants. Well, actually, the women were talking about long pants before. So.
Oh, yeah? Oh, hi, Ann.
Actually, I kind of like doing the classes with them because it's a little social, and actually it's motivational too. So.
Well, he knows what he's doing, too.
Yeah, he does. He has some good tips on how to do certain things on it, which are things that I probably wouldn't. They're more like sewing techniques, and I would probably never figure that out on my own type.
Well,
of
the
thing.
amazing part, too, is he's only been doing this, what, 2 years now or less? And he's come
So he's done a lot of different.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff.
Like he's sewn clothes for himself and for his partner, and he's very motivated.
Yeah. So, I mean, his stuff looks really good.
Well, the problem with he likes, well, not problem. He likes really, really wild colors and very flamboyant type stuff, and you can't buy that in the store. So,
No.
that's why he wants to sew stuff because he wants stuff that nobody else has.
Well, he's definitely accomplished that. Well, he's taken some classes with a guy named Ron Collins, and Ron Collins is sort of a guru in men's clothing in terms of sewing, and he's taken some of his classes. And this Ron Collins, he makes his own shirts and stuff too, and his shirts are usually quite, well, they're one of a kind. Couture. You wouldn't find them in a store. So that's probably where he gets his inspiration from too. But anyways, so talking about projects and sewing, guess what I got back the other day? My Janome 15,000, my embroidery machine, sewing machine. It went to Janome's headquarters in Oakville, Ontario. That's their Canadian headquarters. And they supposedly, I got a call last week to come and pick it up at my local quilt store. And so I asked Shirley there, I said, so what was wrong with it? What did they do? And she says, well, I'm really not sure, but it had something to do with the tension system. And they replaced all of that. And then they had done a couple of sample pieces to show that it was working correctly. Great, I was happy. I get it home. I decide to do one of the monthly doors that comes from Designs in Machine Embroidery that are free, that I've been doing every month, that they come out with them. And it's not a really complicated project. It's an in-the-hoop applique kind of embroidery thing. Worked fine on that, no problem. And I thought, this is great. Next day I decided to continue working on my Halloween blocks for my Halloween wall hanging, which is fairly heavy embroidery. Each block takes about 2 hours to make and that kind of thing. And I was doing them on the stores machine while I had that without a problem. No problems with the stores machine at all. Halfway through the project, guess what? It did it again. It just ripped its internal organs right out. I thought, oh crap.
Actually, I could hear it all the way upstairs.
Yeah, because you could hear me using the 4-letter words for it. And so I opened it up. It had jammed the bobbin case, not the bobbin cases, which I've been having trouble with. It jammed it into the machine itself, and where it's held in the machine, 180-degree turn on it. I almost could not get it out to seat it properly. Of course, the needle broke and it jammed up and it scored my bobbin case again. So I dug it out, filed off the burrs, replaced the needle, reset it up, started again, and it's making this noise. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, this doesn't sound good. Sounded like the bobbin itself was not seated properly. So I stopped the machine, I opened it up, I put in a brand new bobbin actually, just to make sure, double checked, started up again, still making this sound, but it's stitching away. That lasted for a whole 3 minutes. And then it did it again, and I went, you know what I went? You know, F this. I am done with this machine. So I texted Shirley, and I mean, the last person she wants to hear from is me about this machine.
And mind you, she did say to you when you picked it up.
She suspected there was going to be more problems, I think, because when I picked up the machine, she says, okay, watch it very carefully. If you have any problem at all, let me know immediately. So I don't know what that was all about. So, yep, I let her know, and I said, I'm done. And I told her what it did, and I said, I'm using exactly the same setup as I was using on your machine that I had for 3 weeks and had absolutely no problem with at all. So I'm taking the machine back into the store on Tuesday, and this time she says she's been talking to them at Janome. They're going to ship it to the Janome headquarters in the United States. Supposedly there was a guy, I think in the Canadian headquarters, who knew everything there was to know about these machines. He was the expert, but he retired in February, and they have a new person that's taken over that job, and that person doesn't have the same experience as the person that left the position. So she's thinking, I think in her mind, is that the guy looking at it there, he didn't know as much as about the other guy. So it's going to go to Janome's headquarters in the States. How long it will be there, what they're going to do, I have no idea. But of course, in the meantime, I've got her machine again. And she says, don't worry about having my machine, she said, because I'm not using it. So I said, well, great, thank you. I mean, excellent service, and you've heard me say that about Shirley before at Ultimate Sewing. You can't get better service than that. And you know, I've said to her, I'm really so sorry that I'm bringing more grief into your life, especially right now with, you know, the way business is in the new environment we live in. And she goes, nope. She said, I know that you take care of your machines. I know this is not your fault. This is a fault in the machine, which is what I've been saying since day one. Now, ironically, when I look back to when I first got the machine, I had problems with the machine since the day I got it. In fact, I've been through over $500 worth of brand new bobbin cases. They're $45 a pop. I've had a dozen of them in the time I've had that machine. I blamed the problems I had at the very beginning on me, user error. Although I double checked the reference manual, everything like that for it, I took classes in how to use the machine as well from Shirley. So, but you know, I blamed it on myself at those stages. And until I had the really major problems that started, and I went, wait, no. This is not me. This is something inherent in the machine itself. The other thing too, my machine is actually a version 2. They came out with a version 3 at the time, just before I bought this one. That's why I got it at such a great price, because in a sense, it was older stock for her. Mm-hmm. And so great, she gave me an excellent price on it. And they actually had an upgrade kit for version 3, which involved like a quilting sort of thing on it. And which is fine, I had all of that as well. But using the Stores machine, which is a version 3, I have noticed some subtle differences in its design as well. And I'm not going to go into those right now because I need to have the machine to point things out, and it wouldn't mean anything to most people, of course, unless you have a 15,000. But anyways, this all says to me, yeah, version 2, there were problems that they were never admitting to. And since I've had the problems with this machine, and I've been writing about or talking about it on the Idiot Quilter, I have had people come out and tell me about the problems with their machine. The latest one, a woman says her machine, she's in the States, has gone to Janome and she has no idea when she's ever going to see it again. But the problem with Janome is, I've seen people on Janome's forums discussing the issues they have with their machine. Janome doesn't make any comments, doesn't say anything about it.
Well, just like what Apple does when they have problems.
Yeah, well, it's what a lot of companies do. They will not admit that, oops, we made a mistake. So, I'm thinking the only way to really solve this problem is to give me a brand new machine. So we'll see how that's going, what's going to happen out of that. But in the meantime, I will have Shirley's machine.
Shirley's kind of screwed in one way too,
Yeah.
because you can't turn around and say, okay, I've had it with this machine, I want to trade it in for something else, because she'll be stuck with a machine.
Well, that's the
that
thing.
doesn't work.
And I have not asked her to do that.
No.
At all. I mean, I've been very patient and nice about the whole thing. It's not Shirley's problem. It's not her fault. She's the go-between between me, the consumer, and the company. But I think she's got some pull in the company too, because she's one of their top salespeople for Janome machines. So I think when Shirley says something to them, they listen to her. You know, all I can and see. This thing will work itself out one way or another. But as I said in one forum I belong to, at this point, I just want to scrap it, buy a 9450, which is a sewing machine meant for quilting with a big throat, and a 550E embroidery machine, which is what Walter has. Because
Yeah, but then why buy a 9450 if you got 15,000? The only problem with it is the embroidery part.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. But maybe who knows when that'll go.
Well,
I don't know. Anyways, right now I'm not doing that. We're just waiting to see what happens. Um, Hi,
So,
Jules.
yeah, something for your troubles, yeah.
Yeah, Laura says, "What? Are you serious? Oh man, you must be so upset." No, I'm not. I actually prepared myself for this. I expected the machine to not be totally fixed. And the reason I say that is because one, that's where my luck usually runs when it comes to machinery. Always happens. If there's a lemon out there, I will buy it. I will. I'm attracted to lemons, or lemons are attracted to me, one or the other. The other thing is, at this point, I've learned not to get my expectations too high because, yeah, as soon as you do, you're going to be let down. Um, Thank goodness for Shirley and that she's letting me use the store's machine. I mean, it isn't like if I didn't have the machine at all here that I couldn't sew anymore. I've got several sewing machines, so that's not a problem, but I can't embroider. Oh, worst came worse, I could use his machine, but I'm afraid to touch his machine in case I'm jinxed. Uh, you know, but what does annoy me is this is not a cheap machine. None of them
No.
are. I mean, this one retails at $14,000. I paid $7,500 for it. I got a really great deal. In fact,
Mind you, it's not a great deal if it's a lemon, so.
well, yeah, that's the other problem too. I mean, Japanese technology, not saying anything against Japanese technology, they're actually pretty good at what they do and make. But, I mean, I had a Honda, brand new Honda Civic once. Drove it off the lot. The day that I got it, the thing decided it wanted to be a race car. And I had to put both feet on the brake pedal to keep it from going into gear. It was an automatic and taking off at 70 kilometers an hour.
It was a brand new model.
It was a brand new one. When I got to the dealership,
A brand new design.
yeah, new design. When I got to the dealership, all these Japanese people flocked out of there. I had to go through a translator, and they swarmed my car to figure out what was wrong with it. It turned out to be the computer components were screwed up. They replaced whatever, the motherboard or something in it. And then I didn't have any problems with it after that in terms of doing that kind of thing. But this is what I mean. New technology. The way that they create new technology and the way they test it is horrible. It's rapid. Get it out there. We'll worry about problems after the fact. Not so much. And the sample pieces that they did, they only did in one color. They did 4 lines that said Janome in satin stitch, and they did some design that was in one color that probably only had maybe 20,000 stitches in it or something like that, which is light in embroidery. And they didn't even do it on fabric. In fact, Shirley said, I hate it when they do their samples on this stuff. And I don't know what the stuff was. It looked like a cross between fabric and batting. I've never seen anything like that before. So, that's not a fair test at all.
Well, the problem is that tests, like to do a proper test is takes time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. But, okay, yes, it takes time to show you a difference in companies. Now, they don't make sewing machines, but they do commercial embroidery, and that's John Deere. John Deere is out of the States. It is a big embroidery company. They have designs. They sell them online. They sell industrial strength embroidery machines as well that are German made kind of a thing. They don't make them, but they do. They're their dealer for it. They run seminars, webinars, YouTube stuff, Facebook stuff all the time about their products. Well, they had a design that they won an award for back in 2001, and they redigitalized it for modern embroidery machines. And I bought it. They had it on sale. It was something like $39.99. It was on sale for $19.99 in American dollars. No, $14.99. I bought it because it looked like it looked like it was going to look like a painting. It was a sort of a mill kind of a thing, and that a whole lot of stitches. It was going to take, at the speed I was going at, it was going to take something like 5 hours to stitch it out. Well, I did the first color round, and I went to the second color round, and my thread kept breaking. And I'm thinking, well, what's going on here?
And that was on Shirley's machine.
And that was on Shirley's machine. Now that was just, thread breaks are not uncommon, okay? Thread breaks are actually pretty normal, okay? So I tried several things. It just kept breaking the thread every time it was doing that. So I kind of gave up on it because I wasn't going to spend 5 hours on this stupid thing. So I wrote to them. And I told them what the problem was. Now, I did not say that I wanted my money back for the embroidery pattern. I could have said that, but I didn't. I just said, this is my problem. Well, their customer service person got right back to me and stitched it all out. She told me what machine she was using. I told them what machine I was using and what thread. She actually duplicated the thread I was using. I was using Floriani. She says, you know, sometimes she's had problems with Floriani shredding, and that's what this one was doing on certain designs. But she says it seems to be like certain spools, the way they have wound them, you'll run into a spool like that. And I hadn't tried to switch the color to a different spool at all. But anyways, she spent a lot of time. She asked me what hoops I was using, what size. She asked me about the machine. She asked me about the embroidery thread, all that kind of stuff. And then she stitched it out using a brother machine, but using Floriani thread snap. And she said, she came back after a day or so and said, I did the whole thing and it came out fine. So she says, I'm not sure, but she wasn't giving up. She says, no, you could try this or you could try that. Well, it was stuff that was getting just, well, kind of ridiculous, you know, for what it was worth. So I wrote back to her and said, thank you so much. You know, excellent customer service. I appreciate what you did in the whole bit. I'm just going to chalk it up to experience, you know. All machines are quirky. So he decides to do it on his 550E.
I did it, though I don't really like the result.
No, it was actually, after all that time, it wasn't really worth the result. But he didn't have any real problems with it. It stitched out fine. I'm not willing to go back and try a different thread when it gets that part with it, because now that he's stitched it out, I've seen it, I'm not going to bother with it. But what I'm saying is, they were really testing it for something I paid 14, well, American, so it was about 20 bucks Canadian. Well, it's curling up on you. It needs to be pressed. That's what it looks like. Now, from a distance, it's kind of cool.
Actually, it looks better on the screen than it does.
Yeah, than in real life. But if you get
So you
real
get
close
really
up to it, it
close.
looks like it's pixelated type of picture.
Yeah.
So, it's, you know, but at least, so maybe the problem was the thread, that particular spool of thread. I don't know, but I'm not going to bother to try with it. It's not worth it now at this point. But what I'm saying is, that's customer service and that's testing. That is not what I think Janome was doing. Janome just has a problem, want to get rid of it as quick as they possibly can. So, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see, what's everybody saying here? Yes, Anita, the machine is possessed. Oh yeah, Jewel says they not only owe you a new machine, but also something for your troubles. Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen.
How many companies would do
Yeah.
that?
There are some companies that would do that. Janome's not one of them. Janome's way too big. And just like any big company, they really don't give a shit about the consumer. In fact, there is no way you as a consumer can directly contact Janome. You have to go through their dealership to do it.
Like Janome doesn't say that they have a repair site on site.
Nope.
They expect the dealers to have their own technicians to.
And Shirley does. And she has a
First.
really good one.
He does know what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, and he was the First Avenue, and he was pulling out his hair first, and then when they finally thought they got it fixed at that point in time, well, no. So this is the third time. So what, 3 strikes, you're out kind of a deal? I don't know. You know, the thing is, I have other Janome machines, but they don't embroider. I haven't had any problem with them. None. So I think again, and we've talked about this before, I think one of the problems is when you've got two major types of functions this machine can do and you're putting them into one box, you know, jack of all trades, master of none kind of a thing. So I don't
Well,
know.
I think what happens is that you've got one machine that's very complicated,
Yeah.
right? Well, the one I've got is a dedicated embroidery machine. It only embroiders. Though, mind you, I think Janome's one of the only ones that actually has a dedicated embroidery machine. They
For a
don't have-
domestic.
For a domestic, yeah, because mine won't sew. It just does
Embroidery.
embroidery.
Well, it could be.
Like if you look at the Berninas and stuff like that, their Berninas are all combination machines. Same with Husqvarna. They're all combination machines. They don't have one that's just dedicated for embroidery. Unless you get into an industrial embroidery machine.
Well, I don't know, but the saga continues. I'll keep you up to date. Laura says, so, hello, Black Ribbon Studio. Good point. It sounds like Shirley understands and will go to bat for you. Yes, she will. That's why when I recommend to people, when they say, well, where do you get your stuff in that? And I say Ultimate Sewing in Oshawa. I praise them all the time because I've had nothing but excellent service from them, always. Now, there are some people who will bitch about Shirley. And, you know, I think it's unfair. But I also think these are the type of people that would bitch about anybody.
Yeah.
Because they come in with unreasonable requests. Like, you get people that walk in, I've talked about this before, and say, oh, and they come in a panic. They're always in a panic. They need it this the day before, kind of a thing. And they'll say, oh, I've run out of fabric, and I want to know if you've got the same fabric. I bought it here 5 years ago. Well, right there, you know, because fabric gets discontinued. So then they turn around and they say, well, you know, they said, well, what manufacturer was it? Well, I don't know, but it was yellow. Yeah. Okay, and it just gets worse from there. And, you know, and they have to keep their patience with the person because you know what they're thinking in their mind. You stupid bitch. Drop dead. At least that would go through my mind at the time. But they can't say that, can they? So, yeah, she's an excellent dealer. We're lucky that
I mean, she
we
has
have in
her
the area.
quirks. Like
Well, everybody does, but
she doesn't answer her emails very often, and that's one of the complaints I've heard from other people is that she doesn't. But then I said to them, well, what you should be doing is calling the store, right? If you've got a problem, because she is not good at reading her emails, and everybody has their quirks. There's a lot of people that are running businesses that don't read their emails that often. So I said, just call the store. Well, they won't take that for an answer. Well, then they turn around and say, well, then she should be reading her emails. And yeah, she should be reading her emails. But I mean, that's a quirk on her store. Like, I mean, but
well,
what's your problem? Why can't you call her?
well, the other thing there that I would say too, yes, that would annoy me as well. But these people expect that if you send them you send out an email that you're supposed to get an instantaneous response within seconds. Well, that's not how it works. Unless they're emailing me, then they will. That's just the way I am. But
well, this lady, she claims she gets hundreds of emails every day. So
she probably does.
And so she doesn't get to all of them all the time. So I mean, technically, she probably should have one dedicated person answering emails, but
well, another example of this kind of thing is I'm having trouble with my Cricut machine. Yes, it's another machine. I've had the Cricut maker for, well, since they came out with it, which was what, 4 or 5 years ago? I'm not sure. Time flies when you're having fun. And the other day I decided, I've started into doing what they call EPP, English paper piecing, and that's hand sewing. But you have to cut out like little hexagons and templates that you put the fabric on and so and all this kind of stuff. Well, I thought, well, I'll design the templates on my Cricut because it's a basic shape and cut it out of, you know, the cardstock that I need for them. And that works fine, not a problem. But then I decided to cut the fabric as well. And you use scraps of fabric. So I put in my rotary cutting blade that's meant for the Cricut. That's why I bought the Cricut Maker for one thing, because it had that feature, which was, you know, revolutionary at the time. Still is, really. I don't think any other machines have that kind of cutting system. And I set it all up, and the rotary cutter gouged right into my cutting mat, ripped the coating, the adhesive coating, just shredded it, didn't cut the fabric. I went, okay, what's the matter here? Long story short, I tried everything, even bought a brand new blade for it on Amazon, which I was glad, because Cricut's site in the States said they were all sold out of those. They were on back order, but I got one off of Amazon and it came within 2 days. I put that all in. In the meantime, I recalibrated the machine. I made sure my firmware was up to date. In fact, I even reinstalled the firmware to keep it up to date. I scoured the internet to find out if other people were having this problem, and no, nobody seemed to be having this problem that I could find. And so I went online to Cricut, and first of all, their chat mode, it's not available right now because of COVID, it says. So you can email them your question or whatever, but it's going to take 1 to 2 weeks to get a reply, it says. But I did anyways, and I explained it all to them. Now, I have found that Cricut's customer support is actually very good, because anytime that I had a problem, but I was doing it through chat mode. So we'll see. We'll see if it does take 1 to 2 weeks about it. I've got a reference number for it, the way they do it. So I'll see with that kind of thing. But what I'm saying about emails is, most companies do not answer you back within an hour. Some companies are really good. You'll get an answer the next day or within 24 hours. Many of them put up a thing and say, in normal times, don't expect an answer for at least 48 hours. We'll come to it. And some you just never hear from at all. Mm-hmm. So, and when that happens to me, I find other avenues. Like usually they have a number, like Walter says, call, kind of a thing. But whatever. I mean, I think that's kind of minor, because she does give you excellent service. She's busy. Her store's very, very popular. So anyways, I'm glad she's on my side.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I looked at Bernina's website today, and I didn't see any that were dedicated embroidery machines.
Oh, who's that?
Jean, Robert, Hunter, Dooling.
Oh, Rob?
No.
That's Rob, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But Rob, are those available here? Or are those European only? Or the States?
I looked at today, just out of curiosity, on Bernina's site, and I didn't see anywhere that were dedicated embroidery machines.
Well, because Brother has some. Yeah, I know Brother has some too, but the problem with Brother is where we live. You can buy Brother machines where we live.
But there are very few dealers that deal with them.
So if you need them serviced, you have to find somebody that will service a Brother machine and is authorized to service a Brother machine. Like Shirley, she can service a Brother machine, but she doesn't like to.
But she also says that it's really difficult to get parts for them.
Yeah. So you might be waiting quite a while.
It's also very difficult to get parts for Bernina and for Husqvarna too.
So, Janome's got the market in this area anyways, pretty much cornered.
Yeah,
with that.
Probably because of our population in Canada.
Like, I like Janome. Okay, this is the only problem I've had. It's a major problem.
I mean, my machines that I've got work fine. My embroidery machine works okay, so.
Yeah, my other machines work fine. No problems with them at all. What I don't like is radio silence.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. Because what does that suggest to you? When a company won't get back to you or won't give you a straight answer, it means they have something to hide. That's the way I read it.
I also find it's annoying the way sewing machines are marketed too. Like if you look up somebody's, they won't display their prices openly. Like you look up any you might see the lower end machines prices advertised, but when you get into the upper level machines, then nobody advertises their prices. You have to go and talk to your dealership.
Mm-hmm. But Anne says, good way of putting it, perhaps we are better off buying separate machines. Actually, in hindsight, I think so. I mean, it sounds really cool that all this is combined into one machine. You know, and of course, when you see advertisements for that, it's just a flick of the button. Actually, it's more than just a flick of the button to convert from sewing to embroidery on my particular machine. It's not that difficult, but there's needles have to be changed, bobbin cases have to be changed, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. It's not really a big deal problem, but it's not like hit a button and bang, you're embroidering now. No.
Like, from what I could tell, when I looked at Brother online, yeah, they have dedicated embroidery machines, but they only have small hoops in those machines. If you want one that takes the bigger hoops, you need to get top line model.
Yeah, that's true. Mine has
Whereas
several hoops with it, and it has a really big hoop.
my Janome embroidery only machine it doesn't have as big a hoop as the one, the 15,000 he has, but it has a fairly substantial hoop. It's 7.9 inches by 14 inches, which is my biggest hoop. And not bad for an embroidery only machine that costs just over $2,000. So
Yeah, and Rob says he has a Janome and the two of us don't like each other. Yeah, love-hate relationship, I guess. But, Anita says she recently had an eye exam and new lenses ordered. Couldn't see distance out of them any better than my old ones. I went back to the doctor. Guess what? They reordered my old lenses. Well, then there's the human error problem,
well,
right?
actually, I wear contact lenses, and the problem was that I had at one time where I ordered some new lenses, and I got them, and I couldn't see out of them. Like the prescription was all wonky on it. So I went back to the guy that sold me the lenses. Actually, he was a contact lens specialist, and turned out that the manufacturer had placed the wrong lenses in the box. That it was, or actually, it said one level of lens on the outside of the box, but then the one when he checked them in my eyes, they were a completely different prescription.
No. Things like that happen all the time. I mean, I got the wrong instructions for a prescription at my local pharmacist one time, and when I questioned him about it, because I'd been taking this drug for a long time, I knew what it was supposed to be, but they'd slapped on the wrong label. And I said to him, you know, I knew this was wrong. That's why I'm bringing it into you. I know how to use it correctly. But what if it was somebody for the first time on this particular drug and they followed those instructions and they died from it? And you know the answer I got? That's what I got. So everything's customer service. Anne says she had that problem too. Says,
I mean, I've only ever had it happen once, but it did happen, so.
Yeah, Dana says she has a Berdina B700, which is dedicated embroidery machine.
Okay. I'll have to look that
And
up.
she bought it in Canada, yeah.
I mean, there are a few Bernina dealerships around, but Husqvarna seems to be hard to find, and there aren't a whole lot of people that sell that brand, and there aren't a whole lot of people that sell Brother.
No. No, well, actually, that
They said, actually, it was at Shirley, the one that's the Ultimate Sewing that we go to. She did say that Brother is extremely popular in the United States.
Well, yeah, every YouTube video you
Yeah.
watch that comes out of the States says, hey, you
And
can do
their
sewing
upper
Brother.
machines, Brother's upper machines, like if you get to the upper embroidery machines, are the same as the Baby Lock machines. So I don't know. If
Yeah, Rob just said that.
I don't know if Baby Lock manufactures Brother or Brother manufactures Baby Lock. But
I don't think you can get Baby Lock in Canada.
You can.
Can you?
That lady that used to have the store in North Oshawa sold Baby Lock. But
In North Oshawa.
you know, the one that
Oh,
died
up
of
here,
cancer, yeah.
oh, did she sell Baby Lock? Oh,
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
But that's really the only one I've seen sell Baby Lock.
Yeah, you don't see them too much around here in this area. Well, anyways, that's the story of this the continuing saga of the Janome 15,000, which watch Idiot Quilter for updates. Rob says, brother makes the machine for Baby Lock, but Baby Lock has different software. Okay. All right, so moving on. We did a little art trip this week. It was interesting. We needed to get out. So Walter's nephew had been with his family to this Zimbabwe sculpture art park. It's actually in the middle of a field, a pasture kind of a thing. And it's about northeast of us by about 45 minutes or so. So we decided last Tuesday to go up to it. And on my vlog tomorrow, when it comes out, I made a little video of it. They have some fantastic sculptures. And it was really kind of a nice setting. At first, when we were going down there, we're going down this little dirt road through actually a farmer's laneway. And then we saw the statues along the side of the road. Well, you drive in, you park the car, and then you can walk through all of these. It costs nothing. And the artwork was really fantastic.
Well, it's more or less all the pieces are for sale, so
Yeah.
it's sort of like an outdoor gallery, I guess.
Yeah, the cheapest was around $400, and then it went up to that. Like I saw one for 14,000. But it was really nice, and they were doing classes there too, like very small classes. They have every year. This lady who set this up, the curator, she goes to Zimbabwe. She buys all this stuff, brings it back, and sells it. But she also has an artist in residence that comes from Zimbabwe, and they will teach you. You can take these classes. I don't know how much they cost. Probably quite expensive, and they will teach you how Zimbabwe artists make their art. And I saw them there all chiseling away. Not my cup of tea, because yeah, I'd get a lump of rock, and when I get done with it, it will look like a lump of rock. So, but it was kind of interesting. It was an interesting day out with that. And I did buy a piece of artwork. I bought a paperweight. It's a hippo. Cost $20. Actually, I think that it was sort of run-of-the-mill stuff, but they don't charge anything. And so they said that by buying a paperweight for $20, it was a donation kind of thing that went directly back to some kind of group that supports these artists or something like that. So I figured, it was interesting, so I didn't have to pay admission, so I bought a paperweight. So now I have a hippo paperweight. I'll show that tomorrow on the blog. What else did we buy this week? We bought meat. Great big huge chunks of meat. Like, what are they? They're
Beef tenderloin.
Beef tenderloin, but
They
they
were
had them
on
on
special.
They were on special, so we got home with these two big slabs of meat. And like how many kilograms?
It wasn't that much. It was about,
Well, it's not that much. The average person doesn't necessarily go into the grocery store and buy two big hunkin' pieces of meat that look like they should be hanging from your rafters on a hook. But it was on for sale. It was on sale. But now Walter cut them all into steaks and
it's
that
about 12 pounds of meat.
per slab.
No, it was actually it was about 14 pounds. It was about 7 pounds each.
Look bigger than 7 pounds.
No, they were 7 pounds.
Well, they were still big slabs. How many steaks did we get?
I don't know, not that many.
Do you know anything? Do you copy anything?
I didn't write down because I cut them in different pieces. I cut them into steaks, and I cut them into Chateaubriands, and I cut them into.
Do you have one of these? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, well,
4.
I didn't count them. I just packaged them up.
Apparently not. Okay. Dennis says, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Well, you can't have mine. Andy says there's a sculpture park on a dairy farm in the middle of nowhere in South Dakota. It's called Porter Sculpture Park. Really cool place. Yeah, well, they're probably on a similar line.
It was kind of fun to go.
It was kind of fun to go. It was something different. But as I said, I have a little video of that that'll be on my vlog tomorrow. Okay, back to the quilt store. This one really irked me when I heard about it. We get into the quilt store to pick up the machine, and Shirley, the owner, she says they got reported to the health authorities for violation. And I said, violation? Like everybody in there is wearing a mask. She controls how many people can come into the store. Social distancing is in effect, the whole bit. I guess someone complained because one of the help or some of the help, Shirley had bought those visors, you know, that come down the front. And apparently those are not like masks. They just protect the eyes. You're supposed to still wear a mask under them. I guess they didn't know that or whatever. And so, but some, and I'm going to use the word, some bitch, that's what I said to Shirley. So who the hell, do you know who the bitch was that reported this? Like, I thought, nasty.
Well, you could have at least told the help at the time, like, it's not regulation for you to wear those. So
could have said, do you realize, you know, that's not, regulation to wear those? Instead, you go and report them to the health authorities. And they came in and I guess they just gave them a warning right now at this point in time. But, you know, you've got to take precautions. But this is probably somebody that had a bone to pick with Shirley. Maybe it was the woman who doesn't get her emails answered. I don't know. But, cripes. That just, and it, actually, Shirley was visibly upset by it as well. And I don't think I think it takes a lot to get Shirley really upset, but you can see she's really upset because, you know, she says, you know, I've gone out of the way to make everything this way and to accommodate people and the whole bit. And yeah, she was hurt by that. And I don't blame her for that. I'd love to know who the bitch was. But you want to know something? Maybe it's the same bitch that reported me back a year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had done a video of the first retreat we went to that was sponsored by Ultimate Sewing. And I was showing that. And then I was talking about something about, it was a Bible camp, okay? And I mentioned somewhere in that video something about, to the effect, I alluded to the fact that we might have had a bottle of wine with us, kind of a deal. Now, we knew that that was against the rules of the camp. We certainly weren't the only ones that had taken them. But I mean, it was all kept very quiet. And I did not say directly, yeah, we were sucking back wine every night, or anything like that. I made some, I can't remember what I said. In fact, I didn't even remember I said anything even remotely in reference to having, you know, some alcohol in this.
Now that you've mentioned it and somebody watches this, now they'll report.
You want to know something? Let them do it if they want to, because this time I'll say fuck you sideways. So, pardon the French. Well, if it'd been French, I would have said le fuck, but I didn't. And if I wanted everybody to get fucked, I would have said les fuck. So, anyways, I digress. But it really irked me. But I took down the video for the sake of Shirley. You know, just in case there was blowback to her at the time.
And then we didn't take any the next year.
No, we didn't take any the next year at all, which was great advertisement for her. But it was just somebody that had something. Maybe they had a thing against me being a man and in a sewing world or something like that. There are some people out there that it doesn't take much to tick them off, you know? So, you know, whatever. So, I had my art journal session this afternoon, and with my ladies, we get together on a Zoom meeting, as you know, twice a month now that we can't physically meet and actually do some art journaling. But I said to them today, you know, this session that we have that runs about an hour and a half, and I record it just for our own purposes. So I have it actually up on my YouTube channel, but it's an unlisted one, so nobody can get at it unless I give them the link. And then I give them back the link to the people that were in it, that are in the group, because they use it as a reference. They like to go back, and because we talk about products and techniques and things like that. And I said to them today, you know, there's an awful lot of information that we all bring to this, you know, twice a month. And since I'm recording it, and since I'm putting it up on YouTube, what do you think about me making it public? In other words, letting other people who might be interested watch and listen, because we've got a lot of new products that everybody's experimenting with. The ladies in the group are very, very creative and talented with what they were doing, and I think it'd be a really great resource. And but I said I won't do it unless it's unanimous. Like everybody says, yeah, that's not a problem. Well, one thing did come up. One of the ladies was talking about her mother-in-law had just passed away. And so it was kind of a personal moment. But we are kind of friends all in this group because we've been together for like over 2 years, 2.5 years in that. So, you know, it's a safe environment to discuss things that are on a more personal level. And she said, I don't think this one should go up. She says, because I'm not comfortable with, you know, what I said about my mother-in-law kind of a thing and all of that. And I said, no problem. I won't put it up then. But then the group said, well, they still thought it was a good idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them up, the future ones, but anything that we want to talk about with the group that's on a more personal level, we're going to save that for the end, and I'll turn off the recording and we can just discuss that, but it won't get recorded, it won't get posted. So that's what we're going to do. So watch for those when they come up. If you're into art journaling, or actually we talk about more than just art journaling, we talk about art in general, well, crafting in general kind of thing, and crafting is art, okay? So I thought I'd mention that. And I bought something this week because Walter told me I had to. I bought 4 new tires, yay, for my car. Did you know tires can rot? I don't drive my car much. I have a 2008 Honda Civic, okay? Which I bought brand new at the time. This will be the second time that I've replaced the tires on it. You know how many kilometers I have in, how many years is that? 12 years on my car? 71,000. Now you might wonder, why is that? Because he drives Miss Daisy.
Yeah, like I had almost 100,000 kilometers on my car.
I don't like driving.
And mine's only 5 years old.
Mm-hmm. I'm a nervous driver. I don't like driving. And for one thing, that's why I call it driving Miss Daisy.
But yeah, car tires started losing air. And I look at them and they're beginning to crack. So that's not good.
Yeah, well, so basically those tires, I put brand new tires on it in 2020, no, in 20, what did we figure it was? Was it 2014?
14, yeah.
2014, so that's only 6 years ago. And
Yeah,
they don't have a lot of mileage on them, but they actually rot when your car isn't moving.
If you're not using it, so.
Well, my tires seem to be, one tire in particular seems like it might have a slow leak, but it could be the seal is broken.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And you can go to Canadian Tire or someplace like that and have that all redone. But there's no guarantee how long that will last either.
Well, you had that redone a while ago.
Did I?
Yeah. Remember we were losing air?
Oh, yeah, right.
About a year ago or whatever.
They put new valves in or something.
Yeah, well, you know what the problem is that it's because you're not using it. What we need to do is when you get your new tires put on, we need to maybe take your car out for a drive once a week or something.
I suppose. Whatever. Well, you can drive it. You can drive Miss Daisy. So anyways, I'm getting new tires. So I've already bought them, but now I have to wait for them to come in and get them installed and that kind of thing, which will be probably another week or something like that. Not in any rush. So that was the other thing I bought new. Now, I told you at the beginning of this I have an announcement about something I'm going to try. So, I call it Craft and Chat. I want to do a live session on Zoom, but I'm putting out the invitation as an open invitation to anybody who watches my vlog or does Stephen and Walter Live or the Idiot Quilter. I've already put the link in the latest Idiot Quilter episode that I did on yesterday. I will put the link in my vlog tomorrow, and the link will be, when this goes up onto YouTube, you will find the link in the show notes there as well. I've already pre-put that in. Now, what's this all about? Well, I want to see, first of all, I was going to call it Sew and Chat or Sit and Sew, something like that. Sort of like a little mini retreat, but you know, for a limited amount of time, not for a whole day or anything like that, just for maybe an hour or 2 at the most. And then I got thinking, well, why limit it to sewing? So it's open to anybody that is interested. Anybody who does any kind of crafting whatsoever, whether it's sewing, scrapbooking, card making, art journaling, mixed media, you name it, whatever, drawing, painting, anything. and people can join in and they can show us what they're working on. We can discuss different things, different products. I don't know where the discussion will go. It's all going to be very impromptu, and we'll see what happens. I've already had people that have seen it on the Idiot Quilter episode from yesterday already reach out to me and say they're interested in doing this. Now, instead of sending out an invitation to people, like I did with the Zoom live that we did with this group, I've decided just to put the link right in the show notes, so basically anybody who goes to that can get in. And that could be risky, because you might get a few like yahoos on there. But I can still control the yahoos because I have set it up so that there's a waiting room. So you can click on the link, but you won't become active in the group until I let you in. And if I see something come up that looks suspicious in that, then I won't let that individual in. At the same time, if somebody decides to do something not appropriate, I can block them as well and knock them right out. So as the host, I have the control of that kind of thing in the Zoom. So I'm not really too worried about it, because it's not like I have 3 million subscribers. Slightly less than that, you know what I mean? Like 3,200, and out of those 3,200, who are my regulars? You.
Yeah, Andy's looking forward to that.
Yep. But again, I just think it's, we've got the technology, let's use it for this kind of thing and see what happens. So that's coming up. So if you're free, it'll be this Wednesday, August the 5th. Now, I know it's not going to fit in everybody's time scheme because of time zones. Like the Aussies are not going to be able to get onto it. The British probably, Rob, you probably not either, because it's going to be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. So, what, in England it would be, about 6 o'clock in the evening. In Australia, it'll be about 2 o'clock in the morning, the next day. For Holland, what would it be? Is that the same as England, or is that another hour? So for Rob, well, that's not too bad a time for Rob. But then you go the other way too. It'll be much earlier in the day.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's there. I don't know what'll happen. You don't try these things you don't know. So think about it if you're interested. And I intend to be sewing while this is going on, or trying to. I don't know how well that's going to work out, but we'll see. Okay. So Anita says she'll do it, okay, and Jeannie's in, and Andy's in. Yep. So, who knows? We could have quite a few people, or maybe just me and you three. Whatever. It's not quality, it's quantity. No.
It's not quantity.
Quantity, it's quality. Oh, no, I stand by what I said the first time. No. Okay, so what's that take us down to? What's on TV? Okay, has anybody been watching? It's been on for a while, but I'm new to the game. This show on Netflix called American Gods. It is weird. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, but I kind of like it, but it's so strange. I can't even describe what it's about because I don't know. It's just that weird. Walter hasn't seen it yet. But it's interesting. So, and I know it's got great reviews. So the whole season 1 is on Netflix, and it's a Netflix original.
No, I thought you said Prime.
Oh, is it Prime?
I thought you said it was Prime.
Well, maybe it is Prime. I get the two mixed up. You never know. And one that's coming out, well, it's out now on Netflix, is the Umbrella Academy season 2. We watched season 1. I really liked it. It's kind of science fiction-y, superpower-ish kind of thing. It's good. So that's already out there. I haven't watched any of the episodes yet. I have to do that. Dana says she's 11 a.m. in Regina time. Well, that's prime time. You can have lunch. Well, we're on there. Anyways, that's all we've been watching. Okay. Not really a lot of time for this as the main theme of the week, but...
American Gods is on Prime.
Okay, fine. I stand corrected, and my fact finder here will always correct me about everything. It's on Prime. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I apologize to the people at Netflix. I apologize to the people at Prime. I apologize to the producers and directors of American Gods and all the actors and all the little people, their parents, and God. Thank you. Okay. Are you happy now that you showed that I was wrong again? I know it gives you the
Well,
giggles.
you always get mixed
Yeah,
up.
I know. You always get mixed up. Yeah, all right. Maybe I'll mix that poison in your food. Oops. Anyways. Oh, Anissa Stephen, what are schools in your area doing in way of opening? Well, they're going to open. But I don't know if it's any... What they say they're doing is kids from grade 4 to grade 12 have to wear masks. They have to... The classrooms can only have, at the high school level, only 15 kids in them or something, so they can space them out, which is impossible because there's not enough teachers to do that. The kids in elementary are going to travel in cohorts of 30, meaning that they will be with the same kids all day, which unless the school is in grade 7 or 8, they don't have what we used to call Rotary until grade 7 or 8. I don't think that's changed. So those kids are usually with the same kids all day long. But I guess they also mean that they will be eating lunch together in their classroom, and they will all be together at recess and the whole bit. Actually, and then the high schools are going to have hybrid education, meaning in the classroom 3 days a week or something, 2 days a week it'll be e-learning, something like that. I don't know. They did not consult teachers about how this was supposed to work. The medical professionals at the sick kids in Toronto, they seem to think this is a good plan. They consulted with them because kids need to be in school. I don't know why kids need to be in school. The only reason kids need to be in school is because their parents need to be at work and no one's looking after the little munchkins.
And that's also because our caseloads are small in Ontario right now.
But I agree, Anita. You say everyone's upset, and I feel for the parents. Yeah, I do too, but I also feel for the teachers.
Well, you gotta, Anita, we're in a different situation than the U.S. The U.S. has high numbers of cases, whereas Ontario has low number of cases right now.
Right now. But they just opened up all the bars. So we're at stage 3 now. And people...
We're at about, what, 116 cases in Ontario today?
Hi, Jody. Yeah, how many today?
116.
Well, that's up. We were down under 100 tail end of last week, of this past week, so that's gone up again. And yeah, but no one seems to be talking to the teachers about any of this. And the unions have been fairly quiet, so I don't know what the unions have up their sleeve, because this is something that the teachers unions, and the teachers unions are very strong here in Ontario.
Yeah, 116 today.
But anyways, I guess I'm just glad I don't teach anymore. And in fact, I said that to my hairdresser. And my hairdresser always has an opinion. Right or wrong, I don't know. It's an opinion. And she usually shuts me down before I get going. She goes, well, I know a lot of teachers and that, and they're just desperate to get back into the classroom. I don't know how desperate they are. I think, yes, they want to get back to what's normal and teach and stuff, but where's the protection for the teachers? Well, apparently the school boards are going to issue all the teachers with professional, like grade face masks and all that kind of stuff. And they're putting in place more stringent cleaning and stuff like that. But then the union for the caretakers is complaining that they haven't allotted enough money in order to do it efficiently. The school boards are saying that they are not getting enough money from the government to hire more teachers because they'll need more teachers when you make the class sizes smaller and all this stuff. It's a disaster. Parents, and what gets me is too, the parents are going on that they want their kids back into school, but the parents aren't coming up with any solutions for this. They're just demanding. And their biggest excuse, the ones I'm hearing, are, well, because there'll be nobody at home, we have to work. And I'll go back to what I've always said. It is not an obligation on any human being on the face of this planet to have children. Having children is a choice. If you choose to have children, you have chosen to be responsible for them and for rearing them and looking after them. It is not the responsibility of the state, of the medical community, nor the education institutions to bring up somebody else's children. So suck it up, buttercup, it's your responsibility. Maybe you need to downsize the home. Do you need 4,000 square feet for a family of 4? Do you need 2.5 cars in the driveway? Do you need to order all your food out or to go out to eat all the time? Do you need to buy all of your food at Whole Foods or at Organics R Us? Or could you eat a carrot that doesn't have the word organic in front of it? Do you need designer clothes and enough outfits to change it 3 times a day? What I'm saying is, maybe you need to readjust your lifestyle in order to bring up your children properly and not leave it up to somebody else in society to do it for you. Just saying.
Jody was saying she fired her hairdresser.
Because she is a Trumper and wouldn't let up. Well, that's good. I would get rid of her too. She hates wearing a mask and is against the vaccine. Oh, good God. I've gone to her for 4 years. I'll go elsewhere. I don't want to hear from. Well, my hairdresser isn't anywhere near that extreme. She does have opinions on things, but usually they're not, I mean, they're ones that you just, you know, kind of look at the source and go, yeah, whatever. It's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. And I've been going to my hairdresser for 30 years. So, you know.
Yeah, like a lot of people hate wearing a mask, but I mean, it's like probably construction workers hate wearing hard hats too. So, like, I mean, what do you do? Like, I mean, if anything, a hairdresser sees so many people and has direct contact with them, you would think that they would be a good source of infection.
Yeah. Well, you know, you've heard me, what I've said, my hairdresser got the flu and was still doing hair. She took a couple of days off. Yeah, I know, her business is a tough business because she's a single proprietorship. She's also a single lady. She doesn't have any children, but she looks after herself and she has all the bills and expenses of anybody else too, and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's all hard. But she's certainly following all the rules that have been laid out by the government for getting, you know, what they have to do to safely do your hair and everything like that. She's a good person, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about her. I'm just saying that her view, coming from someone who's not a teacher and kind of probably represents the view of other people that aren't necessarily a teacher, they're not thinking about the teachers in the situation. But today's topic, I did label this as, and we're almost getting to the end of our time, so this will be quick, something I have noticed on YouTube lately with YouTube creators. I don't know if it's always been there or if it's coming out because of the situation we're in now, but you know, a lot of YouTube creators actually create their channels because they want to make money. And there's been several of them I've been watching, and I watch a lot of them, who have been crying the blues now. Apparently, YouTube has changed their algorithms, which their artificial intelligence, which, you know, will push your videos given certain criterion to the top, or more people will see them, and so potentially you'll get more subscribers, and potentially more people will see the ads that are in there and generates more revenue for you, and blah, 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 right? Well, a couple of them have been getting on there and have been whining that YouTube is now hiding them or something for this and that, and they're appealing to people to make a conscientious effort to watch them so they can generate more money. And then there's a whole bunch of them out there that are, and you've heard me talk about this before, this super chat thing, which I still don't understand. Oh, I understand it. I just don't understand why anybody would bother giving somebody money who's doing what we're doing right now. Like, are we worth 50 bucks every time we come on or more? I mean, Alex, you know, from Curiosity Inc., he does this with his wife at least once a week, and I watch and he makes $200, $300, $400. or more dollars in an hour, sometimes in less than an hour. Just out of the blue, people give him money. And, you know, he's not asking for it. He's not one of these ones that are crying about the money, but he's not saying, oh, please don't, and he set up the super chat, so there you go on it. So there are other people out there that this is their income. Okay, if this is the kind of job you have, I would suggest that you might want to be looking for other employment soon, because this won't last forever with it. And the ones that make the really big money are the ones who spend, they're a professional production company, essentially, is what they are. They have people working for them to do their editing, to do their camera work, to do all the things that you need to do. They're not doing like an iPhone set down at the end of the counter, you know, kind of a thing.
Jody said she notices YouTubers putting in a whole pile of commercials too.
Yes. Yeah, and well, you see, when I do, mine are monetized, as you know, but the way that it works is when I say to monetize it, I can choose where the ads will go and how many of them. There is one thing I turn off all the time. It's called non-skippable ads. I don't put that in. I hate that. I want to be able to skip an ad. Also, I've noticed, now I don't know if this is a selection or not in YouTube as a creator, or if that's just something YouTube does, but on some of them, they will put in an ad every 5 minutes and along the way. And so you're in the middle of something and you get an advertisement, just like TV. And you can't skip those, it seems, on most of those ones. So I don't know. It's a combination, I think, of how YouTube runs it and what a creator can set up. Then you get the ones on there too that, okay, here's the sad part though, that really made me start thinking about this. I don't want to call anybody out, okay, on this. I've already sort of called out Alex, but I wasn't really saying anything negative about him. I like his channel. I watch it all the time. I'm more or less calling out to, why do people give you money for, what's the return? I don't get it. Walter says it's tipping.
Yeah.
I guess I have a different attitude about tipping.
We're Canadian.
We're Canadian. We don't tip. You know, what's a Canadian and a canoe have in common? We don't tip.
What's the difference between a Canadian and a canoe? Canoe tips a Canadian.
Oh, is that how it works? Oh, okay, whatever. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Walter, the fact finder. Let's give him a big hand, shall we? Let's open up a super chat and they can throw you a tip. I'll throw you a tip. So, there is one very famous couple of guys who've been on YouTube for a long time, and they do craft things and whatnot, and that's all I'm going to say. And recently they had a tragedy in their life. One of their beloved pets passed away. Yeah, I get it. I was very upset when our cat had to be put down too. Of course you are. They're a member of your family. I get that. He has put up 3 videos that I know of. I don't follow him anymore because his videos are always something. He's crying for an hour and a half. Weeping, wailing, talking about this pet.
Shouldn't you be doing that in private?
That is where I'm saying YouTube creators might be getting a little too personal. But here you go. He was making money while he was doing it. People were sending him not $5, not $10, $35, $40, $50 in his super chat as he's wailing about the passing of his pet. And he didn't do this once. He's done it 3 times I know of on there as well. And then you get other ones who get on there and they start off, and you've heard me talk, I'm sorry, I haven't put up a video in the last 2 weeks because I've been sick. And then they tell you all about their illnesses and this or that, or how hard their life has been because they had to look after somebody who just fallen down the stairs and is in a body cast or something like that.
And then there was a guy that we were watch occasionally when we stopped watching. that started going on about the fact that he was losing subscribers
Yeah.
because and doesn't know why, and all of a sudden I can tell you why, because it was boring.
He's boring. And also, he let people know that in 6 months' time, he will lose his job. He works for a university. He's on a contract, right? And then he did say later on in another video, well, you know, he might get, this has happened to him before, and usually his contract gets renewed. But in the meantime, he's appealing to people on his YouTube channel to join his Patreon, which is a paid thing, and to do his super chat and stuff like that for it. So, you know, he's bringing all this personal thing to it. I don't think YouTube is, there's got to be a certain amount of personal stuff. We talk about personal stuff. I give you an update on my mother, right? That's a personal stuff, I guess. And sometimes you do think of your audience, you know, like most of you that are regulars on here, I think of as a little bit more than just mere acquaintances, even though, you know, we haven't really met face to face, except that one time we did the Zoom. But there's certain things I don't think I should share with you about my personal life, because quite frankly, it's none of your business. And more so than that, I think it makes us look like our egos need to be stroked. Or we need this sympathy vote or something. I don't know. It makes me sick when I watch YouTube channels that do that in an extended way. It turns me off of what they're creating. And this one with the dog business, that's why I don't watch them anymore, because it's always something. Like he has to talk about his medical history. I don't care. I mean, I'm sorry that you're going through this, okay? But really, this is something you need to deal with on a
Well, it's one thing
private
to
level.
mention it briefly, but to go on and on about it.
Yeah. But then when you see money going ka-ching, 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 out of that...
Well, considering they quit their jobs to do this as well.
Yeah, might have been a thing. And then there are those who out there share where they live and their address. Too much personal information where somebody can actually track you down.
Yeah, and you're putting it out on a public forum. There's lots of weird people out there.
Like maybe your regular subscribers you're safe with, but there are people lurking out there. There are people right now working on this. Now, I'm not saying that they have evil in their minds or anything like that, but they don't join the chat. I don't know who they are. I never will. But I know after I put this up, I see how many people are actually viewing it in terms of how many people I'm actually talking to and see come up in the chat. And there's a whole lot more out there than there are in here. So, you know, but I'm a very trusting person. But I'll give you an example of how this can blow up in your face. Mike Deacon, and everybody knows Mike Deacon, right? And one of the ones I follow on a regular basis and have for quite a few years now. He used to post his mailing address, his actual physical street address where he lived, because people were sending Happy Mail to him. He got robbed. His house got broken into, and then he went through about 6 months of hell with his insurance company and the whole bit. And then he moved. And he moved. One of the reasons he moved was because he said every time he felt violated. Well, you gave them your address. And you know, when you're doing something like this, like we were actually taking a bit of a chance last week, taking you on a tour of our sewing rooms. You saw part of our house. You know, if somebody found out where we lived or something like that, and by the way, we have extremely big guard dogs. Everything, we have a burglar alarm system, and if you try to get into our house, the ceiling sticks out spikes and comes down and crushes you. Okay? Just saying. Okay? Just saying. Yeah, it used to be 3 of us that lived here. Someone forgot the code. It's over. So, you know, I think people have to be careful as creators about that kind of personal information as well. Then there's the people who put up the things of their children. Now, they're innocently putting them up, but one, I don't want to see your children because everybody's child is special to them, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily special to anybody else, right? And that's child exploitation for one thing. Now, YouTube does have rules now about that, but at one point they didn't, and it was causing some problems. People were taking just perverted individuals. If you remember a few years ago, there was a big controversy about this. They were taking stills from the videos of people showing like little Sally, 2-year-old, out in the summer playing around the little kiddie's swimming pool, kind of a thing, and she's wearing a little nothing because she's a baby, basically, you know, in the pool. And they were taking stills, blowing them up, and sharing them on child porn sites and things like that. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of creeps out there too. So, you know, and just because your kid, you know, did a somersault, that might be cute to you, but is it worth sticking that on YouTube and letting some pervert do their thing with it? I don't think so. But you know, it's not just totally limited to the creators. Comments that viewers write, okay? It's in all social media. You got to be very careful what you write these days, okay? You're expressing an opinion about something, and that maybe is sharing too much information about yourself, about your biases, your feelings about possible certain ethnic groups, all kinds of things. Now, it's hard to not do some of those things sometimes. You know, you put up a statement, it could be very innocent, but somebody else could take it and twist it around. But then you get comments, and I will make no bones about it. I do read the comments that come up. I have it set up so that as soon as somebody writes a comment under one of my videos, I get notified by email. It comes right to my email, and I can see it. And I always make a decision. Am I going to leave that, or am I going to take it away? If it does not add to the general knowledge of the viewership in a positive way, I will remove it. If it insults me or somebody else, I will remove it. And depending on how severe it is, I might actually block that person from my YouTube channel, because as a creator, we have the ability to do that. And I don't make any apologies for doing that. Constructive criticism is always welcome. Destructive criticism or slanderous comments or defamation of character comments, no place for it on my YouTube channel. And then you get people in chats, okay, on YouTube. Not here. I think we've got a really good group of regulars that come on here, because everybody adds to the conversation and everybody seems to do it in a very polite way. But we had one way back. And some of you might remember this person. I'm not going to say the person's name, but that person always had a lot of negative things to say all the time and started to attack us. And I eliminated her. She went too far. So she's never on here again. I blocked her. Simple as that. Again, I make no apologies for it.
Simple as that.
I'm going to block you. 10-ton.
Hi, Bonnie.
Think. Cartoon Walter. 50,000 pound weight over his head. Boom. Just like the Roadrunner.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Oh, Bonnie's here. Hi, Bonnie. Oh, I didn't say hi to Debbie either. Hi, Debbie. Wonder if I missed anybody else. Said hello to Jody. Yep. So, anyways, the whole thing here is, I think creators are getting, some of them are getting too personal, and they're making things uncomfortable for their viewership, for one thing, which you always have the option to turn them off. You don't have to watch them. That's there too. But I think people need to rethink this. And I think YouTube right now is rethinking it too. YouTube does a lot of stuff in the background that most people don't know. They've got some very complicated algorithms that basically decide what YouTube thinks is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And they don't have any problems cutting you off. And that's getting some of these creators really upset. I'm small potatoes. Yeah, I'm not making any money off this thing. Well, that's not true. Every 4 months I make $100. Woo! You know where that goes. Yeah, nice fabric. Okay. Yes, Anita, yeah, I do have the right to block people. It's simple as that. But, oh shit, I said that. Oh, Walter will get me. I said simple as that. It's my trademark phrase now. Simple as that. Yep, Debbie, you're right. Fabric. Okay, so what's coming up for us? We're going to have visitors for the first time since the whole isolation happened. They're good friends of ours that we get together with them usually once every 6 months. Well, last time we saw them was a year ago. They're just in Toronto, but they are, you know, older than us, and they're coming for the weekend next weekend. So that'll be nice. I think I mentioned them before that I made a quilt. They commissioned me. Well, they didn't commission me really. I said, you're not paying for it. I made them a quilt. I've had the quilt sitting here for almost a year that they wanted for their living room, so I'll be able to give that to them. And that'll be a nice break from things. I'm still not that comfortable with going out into public, but it just gets to the point where sometimes you just need to get out too and see people. I think that's one reason why I'm doing sort of this chat and or craft and chat thing. I mean, even if it's not physically seeing people, at least I'm seeing people in an environment where we don't have to wear masks, which is kind of nice. Safe socializing. Okay, so I hope some of you will be able to join us on Wednesday for that. Links are in the show notes below. And I think it's time to go. That's our time. So, anything you want to say?
No.
Anything you want to correct? Anything you would like to find a
not
fact
yet.
about? No, not yet. Yeah, it's the operative. Okay, so we'll see you guys next week or possibly during the week. And my vlog goes out tomorrow. And everybody stay healthy and happy and whatever else gets you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon.
Thanks for joining.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.